Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons The Second Age. How are we all doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good.
Good. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into the game, and somebody go ahead and tell me exactly what happened the last time we played.
Well,
last time we played, we'd departed from Ivywood Market because we were going south.
Mm-hmm.
So the party and Angelica went over to Castport because Angelica was going to be setting up the start of our counterintelligence network there in Castport, and the rest of us got ready to pay for a boat from Castport to as close to Cindershale Landing as we could possibly get. And rather fortunately, the dockmaster pointed us in the direction of someone who was willing to take us pretty much the whole way there. Obviously, they can't go exactly the whole way there because Cindershale Landing's a little bit inland, but there was a nice port that had a conveniently straight road directly to the city.
Yeah.
So off we went down there. It was a pretty uneventful journey. We talked with the ship captain a bit, and when we got there, we're instantly subjugated to one of the many city's houses trying to recruit us because they want mercenaries.
Subjected, not subjugated. That's something completely different.
Yeah. No, I was going to say something else, but then I remembered that the mercenary thing happened, but I'd already started the sentence. So I just had to, I thought I had to change the sentence midway through it.
Anyway.
But yeah, one of the houses instantly tried to recruit us. We were like, "Oh yeah, we'll totally think about it." We just wanted to get off the ship, basically. But as soon as we did get off the ship, this is the sentence I was going to start earlier. We were subjugated to the city's incessant bureaucracy because we found out we can't even take Lyra inside because they have a law against war dogs not being on a leash. And good luck putting a leash. Yep, and good luck putting a fucking leash on Lyra. So we had to leave Lyra outside with our horse, with a very, very, I think grumpy halfling is probably the best way to put it.
Disinterested rather than grumpy, but yeah.
Yeah, just yeah, they couldn't give a shit. They've no more fucks to give. Their fucks have runneth dry. Anyway. So we headed into the city, sans Lyra, and yeah, we questioned one of the other guards who was stood outside, being like, "Where do we go? What should we do as newcomers?" They introduced us to the 4 houses,
Which are called?
which are Xiltesz, Rastris, Visismus, and Domator.
Correct.
Which I will forget instantly.
Yeah, the people who tried to recruit us were House Rastris?
Initially, yes.
Yeah, initially.
Yeah, the first guys were House Ristris, and the guy who we questioned outside the gate was Visismus.
Visimus, yeah.
Visimus.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're slowly learning the houses. There is also in the city a variety of orc clans who the houses managed to convince to not murder each other in the street. We've basically learned that...
Not strictly true, but yes.
Well, okay, yeah, whatever. But we have since learned that basically petty crimes are kind of deal with it yourself, you asshole. Stop expecting us to get back your pocket change. But, like, we can't go starting fights in the middle of the fucking street, basically.
Yeah. I take a very dim view of killing people and stuff.
Yeah. We can do what we like to the person, provided we don't do it in public.
Well, also ritual sacrifices are frowned upon.
Oh, yeah,
that too.
Of
religious human sacrifice.
Yeah. Well, I think...
Yeah, they specified... Actually, yeah, they said human sacrifice. They didn't say anything about sacrificing animals.
Yes. Also, I think, like, it doesn't necessarily need to be religious sacrifice.
No, probably not.
Although, why else would you?
But yeah, so that's what... So yeah. We found a place to stay. And we thought the best thing to do, let's find this goddamned Thalithsyr church. So in the morning, we saw this big congregation of people, and we were like, well, it was mentioned to us that there are services every morning for the various churches, so let's follow this big congregation of people. And they led us to this main church district where there was obviously the big churches you'd expect, plus one to Lolth, plus a few others that were slightly smaller and less decorated, and even a shrine to Tritherian, which was nice. But we were like, okay, so where's the one that we're looking for? Turns out there's a whole subsection in the, what was it, the
Undercroft. Yeah.
Yeah, the Undercroft, which is an area underneath the manor for House Domator.
Correct.
Where the slightly shadier churches are. And we found one covered in melting faces, which we believe to be the one for Thalithsyr.
Yeah.
But we don't know for absolute certain. We milled around a bit in the Undercroft buying some potions. Because that's where all of the more magically inclined stuff was. At which point we went. We then went back home to discuss plans more. Because, well, the services were over and we needed some way to, like. Yeah, we headed back after that, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we headed back. At which point there was a Vismus enforcer talking to the barkeep who we had booked rooms with, and they came up to us and were like, "Hey, you're mercenaries. We'd like some help investigating a murder."
There's
That's
been a
been-
murder.
There has been a murder.
I don't think they specified it was murder just yet.
Okay.
I think there was a death
Someone-
under suspicious circumstance that they want people to look into.
Yeah,
That
Yeah.
might be murder.
it might be a murder. There might be a murder.
The reason they
Yeah.
call it a death under suspicious circumstance is because they can't prove that it's murder yet.
Yeah.
Aha,
There's a
you
death
said
under
yet.
suspicious Yet. There
Aha.
you go. That means it's ha. We've got him, boys. Anyway. So now.
Case closed.
So now the second age crew has a mystery to solve. Because we figured
Call
this is a
us
good way
Scooby-Doo.
to.
Yeah, I was about to say
ourselves.
two of you split up and look for clues, and the rest of you, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, that's what we. We've got a mystery to solve. Basically. Because
You
hopefully
even
this will
have
get
you even
us-
have the dog.
We even have the
Yeah.
dog.
Well, no,
So
we
I
don't.
think
She's
she's
outside.
quite different in personality to Scooby.
So yeah, basically we're gonna
Scooby Snacks?
show up to Vismus and be like, "Hey, yo, we can investigate this crime for you, but while we're doing this, can you let us bring our dog in?"
Well,
And
We
also, I
haven't
don't know,
act-
like Lyra could be a bit like Scooby when it comes to dark caves.
Well, no, she's a dog. She doesn't like being underground.
So yeah, hopefully we're gonna get in Vismus's good books by helping him out.
Yep.
That's the plan anyway. But at the same time, there's been whispers of Domator being audited, which is like, why is that newsworthy?
Yes.
well, the matriarch
Why is that
specifically.
hush worth? Yeah, the matriarch. Like, why is that newsworthy? That should be perfectly normal.
Yes.
So there's a lot of shit going on here.
So,
A lot of shit.
yeah, you all head upstairs, take a long rest, and then first thing in the morning, after you get something to eat, head out into the streets. You go in search of the closest establishment bearing the insignia of the Vismus house. You don't have to go far to find it. You come across the building with the familiar gold and silver emblem emblazoned with the arrowhead. Step inside and are greeted by a fairly youthful-looking dwarf with a long sort of like chest, comes to the bottom of his chest, well, top of his stomach beard.
Ignore that.
That is plaited in a similar sort of style to Vondal's, but nowhere near as sort of practiced or emblazoned. And he's got like the bangles that hold the threads of the beard in place are emblazoned with the green and silver of Visimus. He steps off the stool that he's sitting on, writing something down, comes around to the front of the desk to greet all of you, sort of looks you up and down and says, how can I help you?
Wait, like I missed like who this was specifically. This was for.
It's a dwarf in the Kellers of House Visimus.
Ah, okay. Okay, was it? Okay, good to know.
Yeah. Sorry, from what I understood, your plan was to go to the Visimus barracks first thing in the morning.
That was our plan. I didn't like. Yeah, I didn't realize we would like skip getting over there. Although not that there was much to skip.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good day.
Good day.
Ooh, got a
Good
problem with
day,
me
John
greeting people
Snow.
now. We'd been requested to assist in a small matter. And over the note that we got.
Okay. Yeah, he takes the scroll from you, sort of like looks at it and goes, "Ah, I see. So, you're private investigators, mercenaries, that sort of territory?"
Well, we've done a lot of private investigating and mercenary work. It's kind of whatever the job
They're
requires.
literally
most of the time.
mercenaries?
That sounds like enough experience for me. I'll run it past the investigator, but police. He sort of like gestures you off towards a side room and says, "There's a place you can take a seat and hang around." I guess he'd refer to him as the Scion. The Scion will speak to you shortly. He is currently dealing with some other matters, but I think you'll be welcome here.
And then, well, I guess there is a second matter, which I believe we need to be here for as well.
Shoot.
Well, like, one of our companions is, well, what apparently is classified as a boarhound or of some kind, and therefore not allowed
you need a
in the
permit.
city. Yes. And it would be very helpful.
I can put in the paperwork for you if that's what you'd need. It usually takes a while to get approved, though, unless you've got some reason for it to be expedited.
Well, depending on how, like, the way this investigation goes, having a a hound that can track is usually kind of useful. Sniff out things. It's got a better nose than we do.
He sort of rubs a hand into his beard and nods as you say this and says, that's a fair point. Ask the Scion about it.
Will do. But that's. I think that will be it. Otherwise, we'll take a seat.
Yeah.
He goes back to his desk, clambers back up onto the stool, and goes back to his book. You sit down in this. It's a fairly simple sort of like waiting room off to one side with a handful of wooden benches with a handful of cushions. The place looks. You've seen the interior of more than a handful of guardhouses, and this seems oddly plush for a guardhouse. It's not exactly fancy, but it's more like this in seating you'd find in the interior of a middle-class tavern than in a courthouse or like a guardhouse.
I believe they have a fancy guardhouse.
A couple of moments pass. You hear some muffled voices from outside before the dwarf reappears. Steps inside the room and says, "The Scion will speak to you in his office."
Thank you. Should we just head in?
I'll take you.
Excellent.
He leads you off down a small side corridor into a fairly open plan but sparsely decorated office, where sat behind a desk with a pair of half-moon spectacles, perched on the end of his nose, is a drow. He has medium-length silver hair that falls to about just about the base of his neck. Very well maintained and sort of held out of his face by a pair of fine silver clips that hold his hair back. He looks up as you enter with particular interest, looks across the four of you, and as his gaze falls on you, Arya, he fixes you with a particular piercing stare, raises an eyebrow, and then turns his attention back to Grim, who is in the lead, and says, "So, you are the investigative group."
Yes. We believe we can help. Although I guess a few more details would be required, of course.
Of course. We don't just hand information out, so please take a seat. For purposes of introduction, I am Jaldrum Visimus. I am the investigator-in-chief here.
Galdrin?
I will paste it for you, because it's, again, hard to spell. Drow names, everybody.
Wow.
Oh, that is not what I thought it was.
Jaldrum.
Jaldrum.
Well, he has Vismus in the name.
Gonna look visibly tense.
Okay.
I'm half tempted to try and hold Arya's hand, but I don't think that would help. So
No.
I'm not going to.
He invites you to take a seat in front of his desk.
I will not sit.
Okay, you do not sit.
I'll just stand.
The rest of you sort of sit in these. They are. The best way to describe these would be an efficient set of wooden chairs, in that they have a base, 2 arms, 4 legs, and a back, but are not exactly the most comfortable things in the world. They are functional.
Functional chairs.
Yeah,
Your first choice of word was effective.
Yes.
They're effective chairs.
Well, they are. They support your weight and provide all of the functions you would expect of a chair. However, they are not comfortable or elaborate or any other form of...
But what if one of the things I expect from my chair is for it to be comfortable? In that case, it's not an efficient chair.
No, that doesn't matter.
Anyway.
Still chair.
He introduces himself as Jaldrum Visimus, and he sort of gestures the lot of you and says, "And you are..." Surely you have a group name or individual names?
I'm sorry, I thought you cut out, so I was just waiting for you to cut back in, but no.
No. He stops in the middle of the sentence, yeah.
He's actually asking our names.
Yes. Quagrim Daemaris. And these are, the rest of my company. Then I'll just point to, I guess.
Elizabeth Agiad.
Kelariis Greysurge.
Arya Tallithsyr.
I see.
Yes.
So, from what I understand, you are here about the incident involving a Xiltesz scion.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Wow. From this moment forward, you are new to the city, I assume, from your attire and appearances.
We've made we've strolled around the city for a day, and that's pretty much it. Getting our bearings.
Well, from this point onwards, the moment I begin to tell you these details, you will be temporarily in the employ of House Visimus, and therefore subject to all of our requirements.
Okay.
I trust you understand what that means.
I will admit I'm not quite aware what it means exactly. Well, what the requirements are exactly, but I assume that we are subject to your penalties and whatever.
Essentially
rules
so.
you-
House of Isthmus expects you to operate in these circumstances with a great deal of tact and understanding. This is a delicate matter for all involved, and we would appreciate... Let me just say, we would appreciate if the circumstances of this event were kept internal. There are individuals and organizations out there in the city who would use this information to potentially attempt to discredit members of the house or other houses, and House Vismus holds its reputation in very high regard.
Of course. Well, I assume the best way of handling such an issue is, having a contact point. So if
he nods and says, "Rung will deal with you directly," and he sort of gestures towards the door and says, "Here's the dwarf you met previously. He is technically in charge of this investigation, as due to certain quirks with house rules, I am technically not allowed to be in charge of this investigation. It must be an impartial third party, and although Rung is technically in the employ of House Visimus, he is sufficiently distant."
Okay. And I assume that there is, in this investigation, there shouldn't be any information that we cannot share with his room.
Use your discretion. If there is a matter that you feel is particularly sensitive, that perhaps should not be shared, then let Rung know and I will deal with it directly. But I would appreciate not being bothered every 5 minutes with another problem.
Oh, we've had a similar arrangement in the past.
Good, then you will understand how this works.
Yes. I assume, will you be filling us in about the details, or will we be filled in by? I assume we'll be filled in by. I keep forgetting his name.
Rung. Or
Rung.
I'll give you his full name, because technically his name is Rungavir.
There we go.
Rungavir Marblehewn.
Go.
So Jaldrum pulls a piece of paper from his desk and says, "I have all the details here. I can give you the brief of exactly what it is that happens, but yes, Ron can fill you in on anything that you don't understand. And
Okay.
I will have a copy of these notes prepared for you."
Excellent.
The simple fact of the matter is that a scion of House Xiltesz has died under suspicious circumstances. The simple truth of it is his cause of death is clear. He died from blunt force trauma to the temple, consistent with a fall against a dresser in his bedroom.
Okay.
However, a secondary analysis of the victim's body has revealed that he has a number of self-defense wounds on his hands and arms that lead us to believe that there may have been perhaps a struggle before he was deceased.
So, yeah, the blunt force trauma might be a consequence of this struggle, either willingly or unwillingly.
That is our operating theory.
Okay.
We have a number of individuals that we are keeping tabs on, primarily among which is I guess he would give you the scion's name, which is Istavir. Istavir Xiltesz. Yeah, he says we're keeping observations on a number of individuals, primarily Isavir's partner, Ranagar. He's the one who found the body, and from our initial investigations and looking into his alibi, we've discovered that the couple quarrelled on numerous occasions prior to the incident, so whilst we have no evidence that he is involved yet, he is our primary suspect.
Good to know. And, well, I guess there is one kind of important question. That is, like, a scion, what is their standing? Or, like, I assume it's a rank within the house.
He sighs a little bit and nods and says, yes, of course, that's an important detail to explain to you. A scion, such as myself, is one who has taken a blood oath with the family. Most of us, primarily, are born into the family, but
Yes.
we occasionally adopt in promising members of other households.
Okay. That's...
Effectively, a scionship is a mark that you are a promising individual among the family, and that you are given certain freedoms and opportunities to pursue activities that will benefit the house as a whole.
That is very good to know. Yes. So, besides Istavir, are there any other suspects being followed or tracked, considered?
Not in such a direct capacity as Ranagar is. There is one individual who is primarily Ranagar's alibi, an individual named Visha Maria. A human, supposedly friend of Ranagar and Istavir. She works for one of the high-class seamstress establishments in the market quarter. House Rastris affiliated. We have no reason to believe that she's directly involved in it, but I have my suspicions that she is not telling us everything.
It's good to know.
As you perhaps may already be understanding, there is a small amount of house politicking that is plaguing this investigation.
Yes. Yes, I imagine anything that, involves the other houses is sensitive. It might be considered an accusation if handled in the wrong way.
Precisely. House Xiltesz is very touchy about this matter. It is There's not been a significant unpleasantness between the houses for quite some time until this incident, and it has reignited some old rivalries and frustrations.
Well, in that case, I can imagine not everyone will be pleased that we're looking into this.
Quite the opposite, I believe.
Oh,
Part of the reason I'm recruiting outsiders is that very often, particularly individuals such as yourselves who have taken no pledge to a house, can be seen as a neutral party.
excellent. I'm just more used to a hostile environment in that sense. That will be a pleasant change.
Don't get me wrong, the people of the city will still see you as investigators for my company, but they may be willing to divulge more information than they would be to somebody wearing Visimus colours, for example. Speaking of, should you need to take your investigations into places that are not generally open to the public, I do have a number of emblems that you can carry with you, which will get you access into certain places. That is, provided you're willing to take the assignment, which I'm assuming, by the way, that you're still in this office. You are.
Well, we don't have.
Arya has doubts.
Well, this seems like a great way to get it, to get to know the city in a way that might be appreciated by the others, and we don't have anything else to do. So I see this as an absolute win.
Wow.
Fuck's sake.
Well,
Way of putting it too.
he produces another piece of paper and says, "If the four of you will sign this," and he pulls out four I get the pins shaped like shields with the Vismus color and logo on them. He pulls four of those from a drawer, places them on top of the piece of paper for you to take, and he says, "You'll find the details of our arrangement in there."
Okay.
Grim, being proficient in understanding contracts and legalism, you give this thing a quick once-over. So yeah, this is a fairly standard mercenary contract with a lot of the standard clauses that you'd expect, where the house takes limited responsibility for any maimings or disfigurements, etc., that may come from the activities that you perform.
Well,
you will be paid. The amount seems to be negotiable depending on what exactly it is that you turn up at the end. But for basically for relevant information, they will pay anything. Excuse me. Anything in the region from a handful of gold, anywhere up to 250 gold, with the potential to be paid more if something more comes out of it. But that's with the discretion of leadership. The other aspect of the contract is that if any of you die, they will recompense whoever is remaining for the loss of your companion.
Wow.
would it happen to be more than 500 gold, or?
No.
No.
Wow.
Dang it, we can't scam them.
It is a handful of gold.
Fair.
Wow.
Oof.
That's some fucking.
Better be some big hands.
It's like 5 gold at most. Don't get any funny ideas.
Wow.
Oh, bullshit.
Grim getting
Human
funny
life
ideas
is
about
only worth 5
payment?
gold.
But yeah, it also details that with taking this contract, you are expected to uphold the roles of House Visimus, and any violation of rules or moral codes will be upheld by Visimus rather than general consensus. So you now answer to Visimus directly, but with that comes some perks in that you basically can say, I'm with House Visimus now, and use that to get into places.
Well, yeah. Of course, it has
Nice.
some upside.
But yeah, I presume who signs it?
I feel like I should be the one. I should definitely sign it. Well, I guess we all need to sign it technically.
Yeah, if you want to get paid, you all need to sign it. Well, yeah. There is a reasonable expectation for everyone to sign it.
I mean, I'll sign it.
Okay.
Actually,
There's not like an indication that there's some shady shit going on with this.
Give me an intelligence check.
Great.
God. Kelariis excels at those.
Somebody else can make it if somebody else feels they're more proficient in contract law.
well, like I guess like it would make more sense for me to notice it if it was in there.
Go for it.
So was intelligence straight up, right?
Yeah, I don't think you have any proficiencies that would affect it.
Investigation, religion. No, not religion. I
Definitely.
don't think there's anything that makes.
Are you proficient in investigation?
Yes.
Yeah, make it investigation.
Sure.
Investigating the contract.
Wow.
Ow.
So there's no indication that anything here could be sort of like turned against you. It is deliberately ambiguous in some places, particularly when it comes to when it talks about operating under the expectations of House Visimus.
Yeah.
It is deliberately left nebulous, but yeah, you get the feeling that that's all you're really going to get out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no deliberate trickery going on.
Well, guess I'm signing it.
Yep, there's
Yeah,
no
I guess
deliberate trickery
so.
going on.
Okay, Arya signs as well.
Even though I hate to
There's-
work for a fucking drow.
God, so
we have a well, I guess only half drow employed right now even.
I don't like that either.
Oh no.
Look, it's not the first time you've worked with someone who's blue.
Yeah, but that's different.
He's also not blue. He's like dark purple.
Close enough.
Can't trust
Not
purple.
really.
Blue's fine, purple, oof.
Purple is whoa.
Can't believe we're judging him based on skin.
It's not the skin color I'm concerned about.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Everything else.
It's
so-
Their hair.
society.
yeah. So you sign off on the form, take the insignias, and Jaldrum sort of takes the paper, folds it up, stands up, opens one of the drawers and slots it into the drawers and pushes it closed, and says, "Well, with that, welcome aboard. Rung will give you any further details that you require, but other than that, I have no further requirement of your time at this time. But I would like a word with you." And he sort of indicates you, Arya, if you don't mind.
Arya's gonna visibly tense.
Oh, actually, before that little conversation before you have a chat with Arya, there was one thing we hadn't mentioned it. We've mentioned it to Rung outside, but 'cause we do usually bring along a hound for sniffing out things and that kind of stuff. However, well, I guess a wolf, but due to the city rules, well, we need a permit first. We were told to ask, to inquire with you about it.
Okay.
If we wanted to get it within any reasonable time frame.
A wolf, you say?
Yes.
Trained, I presume.
I said, like,
Yes.
if there was anything more than trained, then it would probably be beyond that. It's yeah, it is trained.
Give me a persuasion check.
Oh no.
We are
Anything more than trained, it is.
If there was anything more than trained, it would be that.
What does that even
Wow.
mean?
Oh
My God,
Oh,
Grim!
damn!
Apparently
know.
he understands what he's trying to say.
Okay.
Look, beyond trained.
Yeah.
Damn!
Children regards you for a moment, thinks, and says, "Fine, I'll sign the permit. But keep it in check."
Right, that is always the case.
Keep yourself.
He pulls another piece of paper and
Shush, Lyra.
proceeds
Oh,
to ask you for a couple of details, and then signs it off at the bottom, and says, "Hand that to Rung as you leave, and he'll process it."
Excellent. Well, oh, good luck, Arya. We'll wait outside.
Okay, so the three of you leave, and it's just Jaldrum and Arya. So yeah, Arya, if you'd like to come with me.
Oh no.
Okay.
Hello.
So your companions leave. Jaldrum sort of like indicates to you just to close the door as they depart behind you. As you push the door too, he sits back in his chair, like leans back a bit and sort of like steeples his fingers in front of him and sort of says, "So, I never thought I'd see an Eladrin in Cindershale Landing."
Well, I'm quite a traveled Eladrin. For what it's worth.
"I can tell by your company. But I get the feeling you're not just here as a soldier of fortune. Your kind really are."
Well, we didn't come here to solve a murder initially, if that's what you're asking.
"So why exactly are you here?"
Bitch, like, I'm gonna tell you that! You'll have to forgive me for not trusting you, but I think I'd rather keep that to myself for the moment. I'm like torn between like offending this man and being like, I don't trust you at all.
He visibly bristles at the comment.
Well, you know what?
And he says, "Don't misunderstand me. I'm not interested in pushing tensions, shall we say. I'm interested in you. Simply because you may just represent something that I have a particular investment in here in the city."
And what's that?
The four houses here have built something special. I mean, you've been here in the city for a day. You've seen the diversity of people that live here. Sans the elves, of course.
Of course.
You are not the first elf to have come here, and you are not the first elf to have come here with ideas about what it is that we do here. I happen to be a part of a group who believe that diversity is one of our strengths. And I have been labouring under the assumption for some time that we will not see elves in this city, at least not of their own accord. But I have on several occasions now been proven incorrect. Unfortunately, your predecessors have left a rather sour taste among those who already believe that you come here looking for nothing more than trouble.
Ah! No idea how hard Arya is biting her tongue right now.
He sort of, I guess he sort of leans forwards and says, "I will level with you. I am invested in your success here, because it will facilitate an agenda that I think is both beneficial to myself and future of your kind that may wish to visit the city. I would be lying if I did not say that it is of significant merit to me and my station, but I am invested in you nonetheless." What I'm interested in is if you are as invested as I am.
So what? Your aim is to attract elves to this city?
Not in so many words. There are many detractors among the city who seek to prove my assertions false about our diversity. They believe that authority figures within the household should remain drow at all times. I think that is an error.
Arya looks a little shocked at that statement.
Not what you were expecting,
Well, my past experience with drow has been less than positive. I've never heard a drow willing to give up its power.
I have no intention of giving up my power.
Well, to make way for, not necessarily like you specifically, but
I understand what
further,
you're saying.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is that, well, as you can see from the situation that we find ourselves in, there becomes a certain level of distrust. And as long as that level of distrust exists, we are weak. And if there's one thing you know about the drow, it's that we hate weakness. I believe that diversity will allow us to strengthen our power base. Cindershale Landing has become a thriving city, but it does not have good relations with provinces outside of its own. The kingdoms to the north dislike trading with us. The Dragonborn have a downright dislike of us. That's not beneficial to growing our city. I can't do that without a more adaptive and open-minded leadership. I need people like you to change their minds. The minds of the people who are in charge, I mean. I'm sensing already that there's more than a little tension between us. In fact, I don't think you've said an unprovoked word since you came in here. I'm not asking for you to like me, I'm just asking for you to follow the rules and make a good impression.
I don't intend to cause any trouble over here. Obviously, we have our own goals that would impede us. So you'll have no trouble in that regard.
I'm not particularly worried about you causing trouble. I'm more concerned about other people causing trouble that you will end up in.
Well, I can't say anything. That doesn't tend to happen around us.
Then consider this a proposal. If you are willing to restrain those kinds of behaviors, to set a positive example and shed some good light both on House Visimus and on yourself, then I am willing to use my power as a scion to fulfill any requests that you might have within reason. If it's money you want, I can arrange repayments. If it's status or favors, I can do those as well.
Don't have much interest in those things beyond fair payment for our work. But perhaps there is something we could perhaps gain from this partnership.
Name it and I'll consider it.
I'm so conflicted about this guy. Well, perhaps I would consult with my team before we do anything of that. And clearly we haven't done anything on your investigation either, so...
I understand. This is not your average proposition.
No.
But please, keep in mind.
I have to admit, this is not the conversation I thought we would have. She doesn't laugh, but I laugh because tension.
He flicks a shining smile and just sort of says, "No, I imagine you were expecting confrontation. A word of advice to you out there in the city. There are some of those out there, particularly those still affiliated with Underdark houses or the Sisterhood of Lolth, who will consider you lesser. I heartily encourage you to push back those feelings and tolerate them, at least for now. Cindershale Landing has been built on a premise. The Drow have existed underground in the Underdark for long enough now that they have become ingrained in their prejudice. And I have no doubt the races of the surface have a similar ingraining. But, as you've seen from the city around you, we are learning to adapt. And, particularly within Visimus, but also in the other houses, there is a more positive outreach, and we are seeking to change things that more traditionalists would consider offensive to their sensibilities.
Are all the houses run by drows?
For now.
Well, I have to admit, it was not long ago that one of our traveling companions was a dwarf, and I don't know how much you know about dwarves and elves, but not exactly the friendliest of histories.
I don't believe the elves have a truly friendly history with anyone, but then again, I can't really speak for the drow either.
So, perhaps it might be beneficial for us to put aside our differences. For the time being, at least.
The flickering smile comes back and he sort of says, I had hoped you would say that. Please, go consult with your friends, but remember, anything you want, within reason.
Okay. Arya just like nods. By the way, the wolf is mine, and she will not cause any trouble while we're in the city.
Good to know.
Though she might cause a bit of a stir. She's bigger than perhaps a normal wolf. But I can assure you she will cause no harm.
If anyone does give you a hard time about it, particularly, as I mentioned previously, those who may use it as a weapon against you because of your... sort of indicates towards you.
Because I'm an elf.
Yeah. Then... perhaps... He sort of like rubs the side of his cheek for a moment and just sort of says, if anyone gives you problems, mention my name, and if that changes nothing, then perhaps come by and mention theirs to me.
I'll keep that in mind.
Until next time.
And Arya will nod and head out.
Okay, cool.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
So,
no.
yeah, as you guys are standing outside talking to Rung, as he busies himself with some paperwork, when Arya steps out.
Elizabeth just gives her a wave.
Like, I assume...
Arya looks a little bit shaken up.
Yeah.
Not like...
Arya shaken is terrifying.
It's not like, you know, she's not like visibly upset or anything, but
No.
she definitely looks a little weird.
Yeah, she's very absorbed in her own thoughts, I imagine.
Yeah.
Arya, are you alright?
And I just kind of blink and I'm like, oh, sorry. We had an interesting conversation. I'll tell you about it later, but...
The dwarf chuckles to himself and says, haha, aye, the silent does that.
Well, as long as you're okay.
She can take care of herself, don't worry. I assume that like during this conversation we were like taking care of the boring stuff.
Yes. Yeah,
With
Rung sort of hands over the permit to you as a folded and sealed piece of paper and says, well, I think that's the quickest I've seen that done in a while.
Excellent.
So, you go and ask the rest... Let's try that sentence again. Yeah. My tongue got caught on my lips.
Oh.
Rip. Wow.
So you'll be looking into the House Xiltesz issue then. No doubt you'll want some details.
Yes.
Probably be a good idea.
There is one little technical detail that is not directly related. Considering we are now subject to House Xiltesz rules, we should probably be made aware of... Or Vicious. We should probably be made aware of any special rules that we may not be aware of. Like, I assume most of the rules are fairly straightforward. Don't murder, kill, harm people, that reason.
So, considering you're from outside, then generally if you follow what you think would be acceptable behavior outside of the city, it's probably acceptable behavior here. There's some grayer areas. Technically, you're not full enforcers, so you can't go busting into people's houses and searching the place. That's a little beyond your jurisdiction, but you do have certain privileges under that badge. You can stop people, ask them questions, and they're obliged to answer you as honestly as they can. Generally, Visimus, though, conduct yourselves in a respectable fashion. Generally, Visimus looks very disapprovingly on people who... I don't want to say make demands of other people, but you know what I mean. Don't go throwing your weight around, or you'll find those badges stripped from you, and possibly even worse.
So, yeah, just don't go flaunting them for everything, basically.
Yeah.
Common sense rules apply.
Yeah. We can do that.
Well, that thing out of the way. Yes, the details. Well, I guess a good start would be where did it happen?
Rung goes for a handful of a stack of papers and starts rifling through them and says, "Well, I've got a specific address here, but it was Istavir's private abode. He was not resident in the manor when he was working, and when he bit the dust, so to speak, rest his soul, he was at home. He's got a partner, Ranagar. Don't exactly know what the full relationship was, but they were definitely together."
Is Ranagar also Xiltesz, or are they a different house?
Technically he's Neoth, but that's not... Neoth aren't really... There's a handful of them around here. They're mostly Underdark folk. But, yeah, no, he's... I don't think they were that close, at least not yet. He was pretty torn up about the whole thing, though.
Okay.
He pulls out this sheet of paper with an address on it and sort of says, Ranagar's still addressed as living there, but I don't know how exactly long he is staying there, even if he is. I think he might be with family. But...
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, Rung says, but I suggest going and finding Maria. Visha, that is. She and he were good friends. You're going to probably want to ask her a couple of questions yourselves, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's spending most of his time there.
Okay. I guess there are some important questions as well, simple ones. Has the scene been cleaned up, or...
Oh, yeah. We cleaned that up pretty much a couple of days after it happened.
Yeah, that's understandable, but also quite unfortunate.
We've still got the body in storage. It hasn't gone for funeral yet.
I guess... we haven't... I guess... well, I'm just gonna ask this, because some might consider this disrespectful. Have you considered just... what's it called? Yeah, speaking to the dead. I know you can. I know some people can do that.
He sort of looks at you, just sort of quizzically, what? You mean a seance, or you're talking actual magic?
Actual magic.
Yeah. Okay. Small point. this guy was a scion, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, so, and he lowers his voice at this point and sort of says, "So the scions are, well, each one of them is basically like a celebrity around here.
Yeah.
I don't know any clerics who were even capable of producing magic to talk to dead people, but even if I did, I don't think any scion would sanction that."
Well, in that case, we're not going to. We're just not going to consider any of that.
Off the table.
That is good to know that the.
He sort of leans in a little more and goes, "Can you actually do that? Because I've got a couple of bodies in the morgue that aren't scions that I could do with a hint."
I know. We know someone who can, but they aren't quite in the neighborhood. They're
Huh.
they're a couple of weeks away.
Well, I'm not keeping those around for a couple of weeks.
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
But no, you're welcome to take a look. There's one of the volunteer I don't know how you would describe that. I guess you would say we've got a volunteer wizard who comes around every now and again and sort of makes sure the bodies we're keeping are still intact and not gross. So
Great way of putting that.
And not gross.
I mean, it's accurate. It's just very funny.
yes. Yeah, we've
Yeah, just gotta make sure there's not 144 of them. You know.
we've seen that used on a friend of ours. We know what it's. We know how that works. Unfortunately. Just trying to. Well, I
don't know
guess
if you
we.
will have-
What?
I don't know if you will have checked for this at the time, but was there any evidence of magic at the scene?
He sort of he looks up, like goes back to the thing and sort of says, "Well, we didn't exactly do. We don't exactly have the resources to do like a full magical investigation, but it didn't seem like there had been, from what I could tell."
Well,
Understood.
either means there wasn't any, or they did a good job. Well, let's hope it's the first of the two. Well, I guess considering we, I think it might be best for us just to go have a look at the crime scene, have a look at the body, and just ask some general questions to see if we can schedule an appointment. I don't want to just overwhelm the next of kin.
He nods. So he says, "Well, you've got Ranagar's address. I haven't got Visha's address, but I've got the place where she works." He sort of like indicates the bottom half of the paper and says, "Yeah, so both of those are pretty far away. So if you want to do the body first, I've got the keys."
We might as well get to that first.
Yeah, he hops off his stool again, pulls out a ring of heavy keys, goes to a side door, unlocks it, takes a few steps down to the basement. You follow him into a sort of like a dimly lit like basement area that is like a lot colder than the upper level, presumably deliberately kept cool. And yeah, there's like essentially like a mortuary like set up here, with a couple of tables, as well as a number of I guess they'd be like not quite coffins, but like I guess they probably are coffins. Actually, there's just a number of coffins with like sheets draped over the top of them. He takes you to one of the coffins that is set aside and has a small bouquet of purple flowers next to it. And he sort of gets up, like starts like bunching up the cloth, and sort of says, "I assume you guys are used to dead bodies, right?"
Yeah. We've seen some in our time.
More than I'd like to be, but yes.
Okay then. Like pulls the cloth away. Lying in the coffin is a dead drow. It is as Jaldrum explained, the cause of death is fairly clear. There is obvious evidence of blunt force trauma to the temple. There is like a heavy wound that goes like completely across the skull, consistent with like smashing into something that is clearly like caved in part of the skull. I guess the thing that Rung sort of
who's good at medicine.
The thing that Rung immediately points out is he follows down the arm of the drow and like shows you where like the sleeves of his fairly formal jacket have been rolled up to the elbow, and there are even against the drow's dark purple skin, there are obvious welts and bruising from some sort of physical struggle on his arms, as well as what looks like a gash wound that is on the left hand of the body.
I'm proficient in medicine. Is there anything I can specifically see that is like out of place, or
give me a roll?
Can I give her help?
You can help. Are you proficient in medicine?
I'm not proficient, but I've got a +3. Oh, that's nasty.
Yikes. Here, but if you give me help, I can roll again.
I will allow the help, even though you're not proficient. Okay. That's really bad.
It's really bad.
Big ass.
Yeah.
That's really rough.
So, other than the blunt force trauma and the gash, there doesn't appear to be anything more to the body other than the cause of death. You are able to tell from the self-defense wounds look like, at least on the right arm, they are what you would expect to see if he had been like gripped and held by the arm. Whereas the left arm looks like it was used to shield attempts to strike him, and then the hand has been gashed as if it was blocking something that has it's been dragged down the hand, so like as if he was shielding himself from a blow with a slashing weapon.
I see.
But I'm assuming that it's too deep to be nails, or at least your average nails.
Yes, it looks more like a blade or glass or something.
Something
it's
really sharp.
Yeah, it's sharp and it's gone deep.
Does it look like a clean sort of cut, or?
It possibly was not caused by a jagged edge.
Okay, so probably something that was actually like
a knife or a sword or something.
Instead of something that was
weapon.
glass that was broken.
Weapon.
Because stuff that's not like broken glass is gonna leave most of the time a more jagged sort of wound. I don't know if Kelariis would know that, but
I think
Kelariis is proficient at jumping through windows.
I've nicked myself enough times to know the difference.
You are very good at jumping through windows. Well done.
In my defense, the last time I did it, I don't think I got hurt. So
no, because the last one you jumped through was technically safety glass, but
you know,
it was also an at 20. It's like,
Does that mean Kelariis get to +5 at jumping through windows now?
No.
Damn it.
No, that's just my strength. It's fine.
Yeah.
I just bust through them. It's fine.
Fuck you.
well,
But yeah, Rung just sort of says, "Well, there you have it."
Elizabeth, do you want to check for magic?
Yeah, if I'm being asked, I might as well. I cast detect magic.
I don't think there's any magic, but it can't hurt to check.
yeah, it's probably gone by now.
Yeah, like you begin to do some magic, and Rung's like, "That's not gonna do anything, right?"
It's gonna
It will
just reveal
it'll let
magic.
me- Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
let me see if there's anything magical in the area.
All right, I'm gonna trust you on this one.
And yeah,
We would warn you before we did something dangerous.
Well, at least ask if
yeah.
we think it might be
And-
out of bounds.
Yeah. You
And I will
cast
cast
detect magic. Yeah. So the body is under the effects of a gentle repose spell, but that is the only thing.
Okay. I figured as much.
Nothing nefarious.
Yeah. In that case, Elizabeth just shakes her head. No, nothing on you. Nothing I wouldn't expect.
You know what? We should probably. I assume like it's lying on its back, right? The corpse.
Yeah. It's lying face up in the coffin.
Okay, face up. Just in case, we should probably have a look at the back as well.
Probably.
Yeah. There's no harm in looking.
Shall we? Like, I assume there was a table, like in
Yeah.
a morgue table.
Yeah. Rung sort of like looks at you guys and goes, "Do we have to? You have no idea how much effort it took to get him in there."
Well, we can help you get him back in. That's.
All right then.
But I feel like it would be silly to miss something important over a little bit of work.
Also, how dark is it in here?
It's dark, but it's not enough to impede those without dark vision.
I'm just gonna cast light on a copper coin,
Okay. Yeah, you make it light.
just in case we miss something in the not quite bright light.
I believe.
Look, better safe than sorry.
Yep. So,
And it's a cantrip, so it doesn't cost me anything.
you have between all of you the relative strength you need to lift this guy out and turn him over.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like we have a fucking dragonborn.
Yes.
You have specifically Kelariis, please.
Yeah.
We have
Well-
Kelariis.
What
You-
do you mean? I can only use one arm? No problem.
You get the
I mean, kind of.
you get the feeling that part of the problem was that all of the infrastructure around here is designed for people who are between 5 and 6 feet tall,
All right.
and the man in front of you is a dwarf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Need some
Grim
high
like
heels then.
can relate.
Grim can very much relate.
Yeah.
Sometimes it
Unfortunately.
just be.
Yeah, they turn the body out onto the table, and literally Rung just turns to you and goes, "I've got boxes."
You know what? I was gonna get bucket myself, but I'd take boxes.
Just stack up a couple of boxes so that you're like eye level.
I love that just, I've got boxes.
You carry
Sure,
on
you know.
buckets in the bag of holding so you can step on them to see.
We do have a bucket in there, but I didn't consider the fact that that would be one of its uses.
Literally adds a foot to Grim's height. Just
Look, a foot is a foot.
A foot is a foot.
Hard to argue that.
Yeah, a foot is a foot.
But no, okay. Well,
So, in examining the back of the body, there isn't really any much more to gather from the thing. He was obviously lying in a pool of blood for at least a reasonable period of time, just from the blood stain that has soaked through into the shoulder of the back of the shoulder of the suit that the formal shirt that he's wearing. So.
oh,
he was bleeding out on the floor for quite some period of time, even if he wasn't actually dead at that point.
That's rough.
But from the head injury, you're going to go with probably died on impact.
Well, that's good at least.
Yeah.
You didn't have to sit there and bleed out to death.
Yeah, that's rough. Like,
That's pretty rough.
At least he would have been there. He would been doing it lying down.
I mean,
No.
there are worse ways to die.
Have you, Rob? I know you've seen Jessica Jones, but that scene where that lady hits her head on the desk is like top 10 gross scenes.
Yeah, that gave me the heebie-jeebies.
So gross.
Yeah.
There's a scene where this lady like rams her head into this sharp edge of the desk and just like it just goes into her skull. It's so gross. God.
Ouch.
I can imagine.
See, it's a good thing this isn't actually me doing this, because actual me is kind of squeamish around wounds.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the smell of a morgue is you don't last long if you're not used to it.
You don't last long. That sounds terrifying.
no, well, it's a really weird smell because of
Yeah.
all of the things that they use to preserve the bodies long enough.
Yeah.
I just like that we have two people who've been to a morgue.
I mean,
Yeah, that's-
briefly, but yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
I got to go to a hospital and look at human bits.
That's
Oh, that's a weird way to write it, but say it. But
Yeah, that's extremely weird.
Well, like we
Weird.
got
no,
like,
I get it.
but like I say, human bits because like how else would you describe a slice of torso and a shoulder
Okay,
and
well,
it's-
okay. See, I thought you were saying that about like a full body, and I was like, many there
Nope.
are other
No.
ways to say that.
No, it's just it was just a slice of torso and
That's
some other
kinda
bits.
interesting, though, actually.
Slice of torso. Excuse me, sir. Would you like a slice of torso? Oh, I would
Ew.
love a slice of torso, sir.
Meanwhile, I cut up a frog in biology, and I only puked a little bit.
oh god. I purposely skipped that day in biology, so I wouldn't.
Yeah,
have to
I
do
did
it.
not
And
enjoy
I
the day
feel
we had
no
to-
shame.
Though,
I did not enjoy the day when in high school where we had to dissect hearts and lungs and livers.
yeah, we did the heart one. I didn't find that one too bad.
Nope.
It was
think
the,
it's
the,
They
different
never
because it's-
dissect anything.
I mean,
It's
hearts
like
and lungs
part
were
of the
bad.
body instead of
Yeah.
the whole.
No, yeah,
like,
the thing I had
thing.
to skip was the time our school had a knife crime day.
ah.
And they had a presentation which they warned had like wounds in it, so me and two other people just stood outside the hall while the entire rest of the year group was in the hall watching this presentation. And we were all just stood there like, so.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, that's
Anyway.
It's a good job you're playing a group of established hired killers.
yes.
Well, okay, hold on. We don't just do that.
No, we don't.
We're not only hired killers.
actually,
We're also
when is the
unhired
last-
killers of people we don't like.
when is the last time we've been hired to kill anyone?
Exactly.
Actually, yeah, we've not
Yeah.
We've been doing it of our own accord for ages.
We do
We
it.
don't need to be hired to kill people.
Oh.
I mean, come
We
on.
don't do it just to do it.
Exactly.
For the greater good.
We don't do it just to do it. Speak for yourself.
Wow.
Wow.
Anyway,
Yes.
I didn't mean killing people.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I assume there's like the body, like the clothing and all that is intact on the back because he was still wearing stuff from the sounds of it.
Yeah, the clothing he's wearing is undamaged. It's it bears obvious signs of it has been removed at least once, but you presume that's from autopsy.
Well, I was kind of expecting us to remove it at some point as well. But I like just any holes in the fabric are always easy giveaways.
From immediate visual observation, there's no sign of any of that. Aside from the large bloodstain, it is immaculate.
Well.
It's also probably worth noting that it's very clear that this man has been dealt with extreme reverence. Efforts have been gone to make him look good in death.
Yeah, so I guess we should probably not mess him up too much in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, having respect for dead bodies is tends to be a good thing.
Well,
Yeah.
there's like being respectful, and then there's trying, and because like we could mess up the clothing and stuff a little bit, and then try and fix it, but I don't think we're gonna get it to the same standard.
How about we just don't mess it up in the first place? I think that's a better idea.
Well, how else would you want to take off his shirt?
We can take it off. We don't have to
I mean,
We can put it
also,
back
to be fair,
on.
Also, to be fair, if there's a lot of blood on it, and if they're the type of people to do dressing of a body, they probably don't want the bloodstained shirt anyway.
That's true. Actually, there is one thing.
To be fair, though, we didn't notice the bloodstained shirt until we turned him over, and like,
Yeah, but they've
We could
seen
roll.
that,
Still.
I'm sure.
It was not because it was very hidden. It was more of a we asked for it at that point.
Yeah.
I guess there is one thing. I guess we can turn him back round so we can unbutton the shirt and stuff. And then, Elizabeth, well, you've got that little glowing coin. Should probably check the mouth cavity and all that stuff.
Mouth cavity.
why?
Look, it's- I don't like just in case. Like maybe he was hiding something. Maybe
You never know.
like maybe that was the reason.
You know what? I'm just gonna give you the coin.
Okay.
Right.
You pass the coin to Grim.
I'll try and delicately inspect the mouth.
You now have a coin light for an hour. Well done.
Yeah, you
And
you
I got a copper off you.
wow.
Ow.
You peer inside his mouth, and aside from a set of immaculately cared for teeth, there is nothing.
Well, worth a shot.
Okay.
Are we talking immaculately cared for by like modern standards or by like medieval standards?
He has pearly white teeth.
Yeah.
I guess there's one last thing I'll do is I'll see if there's like some gentle equipment lying around just so we can move the tongue out of the way.
Seeing what you're doing, Rung passes you tools. You sort of like
yes.
poke around a little bit.
Minnie's just doing a full autopsy at this point.
Look,
Yeah.
Oh, this is not a
He's just-
full autopsy.
no,
No.
He
Like,
might as well
Not
just
cutting
start
into
one.
You need
Full
bone
external.
saws and shit for that.
Yeah,
only the external bits, not the
Yeah,
internals.
you lift up the tongue. There's nothing of note. Rung just sort of like leans in and sort of says, "Yeah, I thought of that too."
Yeah. Well,
Rung's just backseat investigating.
it's
Tried that.
was worth a shot. Kind of. Yeah. Well, I guess it's good to know that he wasn't. Right. Like, it doesn't seem like anything was in here or removed this force. So that's good.
At least not while he was alive.
Exactly. Although I guess they didn't really notice any, like the body hadn't been moved, right? As far as they could tell.
Not particularly.
Because I guess we could easily check by checking the amount of blood on the back of the head. Did it lie in a pool? If it lied in a pool, or if it's smeared around.
Well, he said that it.
So the back of his head, where it would have been covered in blood, has been cleaned off.
Oh, okay, yeah. I forgot about that part.
So yeah, the Also, can we have the names of the suspects in the chat?
Sure.
Because we've got.
Oh well,
we've got
the
The witnesses.
the names of his friends.
Yeah,
who are potential killers.
Ranagar, who is the partner,
Yes, and then
Visham Maria, who's the human associate / friend.
see, I didn't hear Maria. I heard Maria.
Yeah, me too.
Maria.
I went so wrong on those names.
Got the first
But,
bit right.
I guess that's fair.
Yeah, I guess while
Nerf
Grim's doing
blast.
that, Elizabeth's gonna go. Do we know? Does anyone know the nature of the disagreements that Istvir and Ranagar had?
It wasn't gone into specifically, but I assume it was some form of domestic from what Vicious said.
So, yes. Yeah. Wait, they've been dead for a week now, haven't they?
Correct.
And they're under the spell Gentle Repose.
Yes. So technically they've probably only been dead for a couple of hours, thanks to Gentle Repose.
You have no idea how tempted I am to teleport us back and forth and resurrect the guy.
This guy
But I feel like that would kind of...
come with us. Woof.
I would be like, what the fuck?
You could certainly try.
I don't think that'd be allowed. It's just, hey, this guy's been murdered. Let's hire some guys to look into it. Boom. Oh, what the fuck? The guys we hired just brought him back to life.
That will probably be worth at least 500 gold, right? This is awful.
Are you suggesting we get them to pay us 500 gold because we brought him back to life? Just went,
That
there
would
you go,
be
murder
wild.
mystery solved.
Honestly, that would be rather reasonable, wouldn't you think?
I mean, that would solve the mystery.
It would definitely solve the mystery.
I mean, no, it wouldn't because we still wouldn't necessarily know what happened.
But the
Like,
guy
Oh.
could tell us.
do
Yeah,
we
the guy-
fucking remember shit at this point?
Well, I mean, he's fucking. There was signs of a struggle, so he clearly saw whoever fucking killed
Yeah,
him.
but you try remembering shit when you got your head smacked hard enough that you died.
That's valid.
Yeah.
True.
I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. Like, I'm not saying it's an impossible outcome,
Okay.
but also we have to consider the fact he literally had head trauma so bad that he died.
Okay, guys, I've got another idea. Let's go to the Shadowfell and find his spirit.
No.
No.
I feel like our ideas are going downhill right now.
Let's just teleport to whatever his afterlife is.
I just feel like once we got access to bring back the dead, like, I'll bet
That really does just like really sort of like make any other form of murder investigation seem completely inferior, doesn't it?
It does.
Well,
we
if
could
you
just
want to
resurrect him.
try it, you can.
I feel like somebody's gonna get mad at us for that, though.
Yeah,
And I
don't
don't
like
think
the.
Von Dahl.
I
Oh,
don't,
why
I don't
they
think,
would though?
yeah, I don't think
Okay.
Von Dahl would agree to that, honestly. Hey Von Dahl, can you come and resurrect this drow for us so we can resolve a murder mystery?
Well, honestly, would that really be above? Like, it's not like this drow was doing anything illegal, as we can tell. He's like actively in an organization trying to keep order. Like, it's not like
No,
not
he's
technically.
not.
He's
He's
Xiltesz.
business.
oh
Yeah, he's not part of this house.
Oh yeah, I
He's
forgot.
not, yeah, he's not.
he-
He's not Vismus.
He's in charge of construction and procurement.
Oh yes, of
Yeah.
course.
He built.
I had
shit.
some interesting conversations with this drow that would, if he was part of this house, maybe. But yeah,
Like,
he's
well,
not.
we are gonna probably come to that after we, like, when we get to a little.
But yeah,
Right.
back in
Don't think we
in
should.
character, Rung is sort of like looking at you guys and says, "So, what do you make so far?"
You know what? I'm just gonna suggest it. Say we had the ability to bring him back to life. How would that fit in the order of things?
He just there's like a long sort of look that he is trying to work out if you're serious.
Absolutely.
Elizabeth just face palms.
Like,
Can
like,
you
it would-
do that?
We have the ability to.
Yes.
Well, we have
The
a
heart-
friend who does.
The hardest part might be convincing them to resurrect a drow, but otherwise, it should. There is one. Well, there is actually a second requirement that you might be willing to fulfill in that case. It would require a single gem diamond of roughly 500 golds worth in size.
He just sort of
But
like looks at you dumbfounded and it's just sort of like,
Like we can supply it. We can supply the material if, well, and then upon success, we would like a refund, of course.
Doesn't Vandal have to get down here though?
Well, we
Okay, so this is massively beyond my pay grade. I mean, what you're suggesting sounds incredible. I'm not sure that I believe that you can really do that, but
well, like regardless if you believe, like we like, I guess you like if you believe us or not, we can, we can. Well, if we do it, well, you'll see, of course. But
I
it's
think
not really.
what Grim is trying to get at is, would everyone who is involved with him be okay with something like that? More of a moral question.
you would have to ask other people than me.
Well, you know what? I guess there's one tiny thing we can do in order to actually check if they'd be willing. Elizabeth, could you just pop a message?
I'm sorry, what do you want me to do?
Message.
Send Vandal a
Vandal.
message asking if he'd be willing to resurrect someone who was in an unfortunate accident. We should be transparent and say it is a drow living to.
For a second, I thought you want me to try and message him.
Dead guy.
Oh no, not the dead guy. No,
Oh,
that would be silly.
if you want me to send him a message, I will.
Okay. You know what? Go ahead.
All right. And I will cast sending to message Vandal and say, I mean, Elizabeth's not gonna act like this is her idea, so she's gonna say, Grim wanted me to ask.
Throw Grim under the bus immediately.
Of course I'm gonna fucking throw Grim under the bus.
As
Okay.
she should, honestly.
That's 6.
Yeah. Grim wanted me to ask, if you would, resurrect a drow as part of a murder investigation.
What a message.
I suppose what we say, resurrect a drow victim as part of a murder investigation.
There you
19.
go.
That it?
Yeah.
Vandal just living his life. Only gets that
Yeah,
message.
Yes!
Vandal's like in the middle of a fucking drill and gets that, and he's just
Yep.
like, hold on a second, guys.
He's like cooking food or something.
Just something really mundane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
Doing
doing some
paperwork.
paperwork in his office. No, to be fair, it'd be far worse if he was like doing drills and he just suddenly has to go, like, Stardy, take over a sec. I need to.
Need to deal with something.
Hold on, I'm being messaged.
Hang on a minute. I'm receiving a message.
Oh, well,
Elizabeth's in my head.
Elizabeth's DMing me.
I will admit the only reason why I consider this is because I know these guys have money, so it's like,
You know they can compensate us for it.
yeah.
So, yeah,
if
fuck's
they
sake.
will.
after a pause, there is a message back from Vandal that says, okay, I'm gonna need a little more context. But
In that case, oh,
where are you?
yeah. In that case, I will basically repeat that to Grim.
Okay, so, we're in Cindershale, and we're like, it's a community friendly to all races.
You're aware I can't do this forever, you know, right?
No, but like, well, if it really is, we can just pop out. Like, well, I guess I say just. If we really have to, we can.
Just say we're in Cindershale. We're
Yeah,
investigating a murder,
A
and
death under suspicious circumstances.
we're investigating a suspicious murder. And whatever.
That's so in character for Arya.
Yeah. Who the fuck
like,
cares?
We're investigating a murder, and it's like, it's not technically a murder. She's like, okay, we're investigating a suspicious murder.
This man was clearly murdered. Okay.
Hang on a second. Can we?
That's 9.
And we were wondering if it would be easier to just resurrect this guy.
Well, isn't that basically saying the same thing we just told him already?
Well, I don't know what else to say. Like, what else does he want?
Well, like,
details of the
I mean,
circumstances.
something about like I don't know.
okay, well, we should probably mention that we can presume the drow is innocent. So how are we gonna do this? Okay, look, we're in Cindershale. We would pick you up. Drow is innocent victim.
Is innocent probably?
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe
Like,
the guy
we don't
was,
have
maybe
we
the
don't
guy
have
was,
room for probably.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe
we
it was a
we
murder,
can
and the
put
reason
that
he was
aside.
murdered is because he was engaging in illegal shit. We don't
Oh
know.
my god.
I mean, we should probably mention that he was like a high-ranking. High-ranking?
Well, he wasn't even
Important
necessarily high ranking. He's just a guy who was adopted by one of the houses that happens to run the
Well,
place.
he made a blood oath with a house. There's a difference.
Like a scion
Potato,
is.
potato.
It's
No,
definitely-
that's a pretty big difference in this case.
That is a
Yeah.
potato and a tomato. This point.
Don't you mean a tomato and a no? Don't you mean a potato and a tomato?
regardless.
Anyway,
I had a point there.
I'm holding up a bunch of fingers here. Hurry up what the rest of your words are.
I think Vinny's typing it out, so we know.
What did we even say again?
Okay, we're in Cindershale.
We're in Cindershale.
Yeah.
The drow is innocent.
Drow is innocent.
We have questions that only he might be able to answer.
I think that's like, yeah. We need him alive.
We need him to not be dead.
I think
Not
that's
be
implicit in
dead.
us asking him to resurrect the guy.
I mean, to be fair,
I don't
I'm
think you
sure
have to
that-
specify that part.
I'm sure that we could find answers even if this guy wasn't alive.
Hey, Vandal, can you come
Yeah.
roast this guy so we can just kill him
Okay, well-
again?
Okay, well, we'd like him alive. Is that better?
We would like. It might
Again,
be
I think
easier if
that's-
he was
I
alive.
think that's implied in the fact that we are asking Vandal to resurrect him.
Yeah, but like, I feel like in this case, it's putting emphasis with a few words because we've already explained that it's an innocent guy that like isn't Cindershale. We'll pick him up.
Pick him up. Yeah.
I know I'm.
I'll come by at 7 months old.
Hang on, we just
Okay.
gotta wait for the cleric to investigate him. He'll be around between 2 and 6.
But
I
like,
like to imagine this whole conversation is like
See-
happening in character.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
you're
in front
having
of Rung.
you're having this conversation, and Rung is just looking at you like, "What the fuck is going on?"
And honestly, that's fair.
As you're having this conversation, Vandal messages back like 5 question marks after one after the other.
the worst.
You know what? Honestly, no, that's fair for Vandal to do that.
Oh god. Fuck's sake.
Okay, what do we have so far? In our
We're
second-
in Cindershale.
We're the worst.
What is this session
We're in this-
devolved into?
We are in Cindershale, or is we're a single word?
Where is
Uh,
this single word? Please.
We're
Where's
a
a single word
conjunction,
because
so
you
it's
can put an
single
apostrophe
word.
in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Single word.
fine.
No, wait.
Actually, that's at the end. We need to ask the DM if that's like.
Okay,
It-
you know what? We can make it
We
easier. and just say,
apostrophe
in-
RE is a
no.
word.
Ask
No, just
Microsoft
say
Word.
Cindershale. In Cindershale.
Oh yeah, you know, instant. Better, even better.
Yeah, that's made the whole
We're cutting
word.
out words, guys.
Well, actually, you don't even need to say in, just Cindershale. It's fine.
Okay, now we have to be kind of clear. He did ask
Yeah,
a lot of
okay.
questions, to be fair.
Yeah.
In
Where are you
Cindershale.
right now? Cindershale. Okay, what about my other questions? Cindershale.
Anyways,
Okay.
in Cindershale,
Let's just start typing this out. In
I
Cindershale.
thought somebody had.
Typing. That's why I assumed somebody was doing it, but
Yeah,
In
No,
Cindershale.
we just found out Ferrous was using his fingers.
that's also fair.
That is not typing.
3
Why are we such
hours
just ass?
later.
Hello
Okay,
and welcome to Dungeons and Dragons: The Second Age,
In
where we're going to be
Cindershale.
composing a text message to our friend,
Oh.
asking him to resurrect someone who was maybe murdered.
Probably murdered. Or at least
Yeah.
adjacently murdered.
Oh.
Anyway, Minnie, are you typing this or do you want me to
Like,
do
We are
it?
taking far
I
too
started
long
as
in
in
this here.
Cindershale,
We'll
innocent drow. Oh, what? Oh, we'll pick you up, or what?
we'll get you as less words if you want to
Like,
be
pick
really
up
short about it.
arranged.
Transport arranged. There you go.
Will pick up?
We'll pick up.
I've got 2 words. Transport arranged. There you go.
I know. I can pick up. Or will. No, actually, can or will.
I mean,
And-
will, because
We don't have a week to wait for him to come down here.
yeah, I was
Or
gonna say
more.
we don't really.
Well,
have any
It's
other
yeah,
ways
it's
to go
like
about
3
it.
weeks.
It was
Yeah, we
more.
have 3 weeks for him to get down
It was more a case of being less forceful about it, and instead of like, you will be picked up.
here. You're coming here to resurrect this dead
Uh,
guy.
Would pick up.
will-
Would pick up.
Yeah, you know, wood seems
good
the nicest word.
midpoint. Wood is a good midpoint.
Would pick
Oh
up.
god. Is someone
Um,
gonna write down the adjacent murder? Because that was funny.
So
So wood.
while you guys are having this conversation, Rung's like, I'm just gonna go talk to the Scion about all this.
Yes,
Oh,
honestly,
God,
if you can
Good
get it, because if
plan.
like magic communication is a little fickle. If you can get the approval, or well, the opposite,
Disapproval.
then that will solve a lot of problems. But like, we won't guarantee that we can get the consent to make it happen.
Okay. Yeah.
And we'd also have to ask like the other people.
He
around
he
them.
very rapidly disappears off upstairs.
This poor guy. This is far, far more than he paid for.
Honestly, they're just random mercenaries. We can teleport a cleric in and out of here to resurrect.
We
the
can
dead
resurrect the
person.
man from the
Oh my
dead.
God, no, this is fine.
Uh,
Innocent drow got.
Here's the thing. The only danger about this, right, is that like if he was actually murdered, whoever murdered him or wanted him dead is gonna be very pissed about this, and will either come after him, come after us, or both, unless we figure out who they are and stop.
I
them
mean,
first.
it
Well,
is what it is.
Supposedly, if he was murdered, he'd be aware of it to some degree. But unless
I
the
feel
head
like-
trauma.
Well, he
I
had a
feel like we could
yeah.
probably remember.
Yes.
I mean, he
'Cause
at
he
least had a
died from-
struggle.
He died from the head trauma, right? So like, if
Yeah.
that's the injury that killed him, that would be erased.
I think it depends. I'm not super familiar
Hang
on
on,
head
hang on a
trauma with
second. Yeah, we need to-
memory,
I
but
think
like
we need to check what exactly Vondel's spell does. Because I feel like that's important information at this point.
Yeah. Well. Okay, so Cindershale would pick up. Innocent drow needs to answer questions. Needs to live.
It's raised dead.
Yeah, it's raised dead.
Okay,
Dead
so
longer than 10
would
days.
make
If the
innocent drow.
creature's soul is willing and at liberty to rejoin.
ooh, that might be another issue,
Yeah, he might not be willing.
Oh,
or able for that matter.
He might not be willing or able to have his soul return to his body, in which case we've wasted 500 gold.
well,
I mean, I think it's worth a shot. If everyone's okay with, like, I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot of people we have to get consent from before we attempt it anyway, so.
Okay,
Hopefully
so
the partner is fine with it as well.
okay, so yeah, it would close the mortal wound. He's not missing any body parts, so that's fine.
He is technically missing a reasonable chunk of brain matter, most likely, but
Does
In that
that
case, he's coming
count?
back without a decent amount of brain
Well,
matter.
All right,
okay.
so that might be an issue.
The
Wait,
spell closes all
people
mortal wounds,
have
but doesn't
survived
restore-
that. Yeah.
This is
But
true.
it doesn't restore missing body parts if the creature is lacking body parts or organs integral for its survival. The head, for instance, the spell automatically fails.
Yeah, but
mean,
like
as
it's
far
not
as
missing
we
the
know.
it's not missing the head. It's just the damage. It's not like missing those
He's
parts.
just got a
It's
very
damage.
damaged. He's just got very Well, yeah, like
It's like it's
guess,
mortally
yeah.
wounded. It's not.
Yeah, so
It's not like
so
missing.
it might
Fro-
restore his brain.
from a GM standpoint, if you go ahead with this and everybody says it's okay, if you do this, you will it will work. He will come back to life, assuming no external circumstance. But I will say that the fact that there is a significant amount of brain matter that probably ended up on a floor somewhere, he may not be at full capacity. That is the risk you are taking.
He may not be at full capacity.
So what you're telling us is we need to
This
find
is
the
what
bucket
I
with brain
said.
matter.
So
We
maybe
need
this
to
isn't the
find his
best
missing
idea.
brain matter.
No, it's probably gone at this point.
We're going on an adventure for some brain matter, guys.
No.
I'm just gonna veto that out of the gate because
Out of
You don't
ain't
wanna
no way
just-
it's gonna happen.
Empty a bucket of brain into the guy's head.
Oh God!
Fix the issue.
We can't just give him a new brain.
God damn it, you guys.
Yeah, just give the dead guy a brain transplant so that when we resurrect him, he actually has a fucking brain.
Okay, so maybe we should just nix this idea because it
Yeah.
seems like it's not actually gonna work.
Yeah, you're gonna need more than a
Oh
13 on a medicine
God.
check to do that.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I'm losing my goddamn mind. But we
So-
okay, we wasted a whole hour, like a half an hour on this. So
We have wasted
I
most of the
mean, that's-
session discussing
not
whether or not we
right.
can bring him back to life.
So, as you were discussing this, like what exactly it is you're trying to say to Vondal, you hear two sets of footsteps on the stairs coming down. Rung just sort of like gestures into the room as Jaldrum appears, and he just goes, "Can somebody tell me what the fuck is going on?"
no, we don't know what the fuck's going on either. No, I don't. Say
Well, we kind of had the epiphany that we actually could get a cleric here with the ability to resurrect this person potentially. Of course, like we kind of expected. Rung was going to figure out what the ramifications would be. So far as we can tell, we're trying to communicate with with the cleric, but magic communication is a little slow, and yes, or it's a
and
little.
we aren't entirely sure if we even resurrected him, it might not work and he might die again because of the nature of the spell.
No, he might. It's not that he might not die again. It's the fact that he may have experienced some other damage that cannot be repaired, or potentially there is something blocking him from being resurrected in the first place. Either him being not willing to be resurrected, or alternatively that he there is something stopping his soul from returning to his body.
Okay, I'm no expert on the arcane and the realms of the dead, but I can safely tell you that I'm pretty sure that the deceased's family is not going to be best pleased with that suggestion.
Well, and that's what we were also gonna ask, like, his family and stuff. So that's
Well-
another factor. It sounds like it might not be the best idea in reality. Despite the fact that we have access to it, it might be better to not go through with that plan.
Yeah. Well, we weren't we were first trying to figure out if it was a possibility, and then figure out if it was in line with your principles.
Might I suggest finding who killed the son of a bitch first?
Oh, I was kind of hoping he'd tell us instead, but that we can do that. We can do that as well.
He continues to just sort of stand there with a grim look at his face, waiting for you to decide to do something.
Well,
I think it might be better to question the people involved before we try that.
Yeah, let's just go.
well, actually, before we go, we should probably give Rung a hand and actually put it back.
Well,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, we can. Yeah.
Like, we're not gonna make poor Rung do all that.
Okay, yeah, as you proceed to like help put the body back in the coffin, Arya, you lock eyes with Jaldrum for a minute as he's like looking at you, and he just beckons you over with a finger.
Alright. I'll go over there.
He leans up against the wall next to you and hisses, "This is not what I had in mind."
Listen, we were just trying every available avenue of thought. Ultimately, we were coming to the decision that it wasn't the best idea anyway by the time you arrived. But I assure you, we were not going to try anything without the family's consent.
Just be careful.
Believe me, we will take the utmost caution with this investigation.
He watches them put the body back in the coffin and cover it back up, and he just sweeps off upstairs.
Yeah, Arya's gonna watch him leave, and then turn back to the others and be like, "Alright, let's go."
Well, that's interesting.
Nobody's gonna comment on the fact that they have a more cordial relationship now.
I mean,
Well,
I'm raising my eyebrow, but not going to ask.
Elizabeth's a little distracted.
I was gonna wait till we were kind of off the premise. You know, like.
Yeah.
Well,
And
to
maybe
be fair,
make
as soon as we're like out the door, Elizabeth's just gonna go. Did we really have to have that discussion like there? And like, why were we even considering that in the first place?
Well,
Also, I should probably now send a message to Vondal saying, "Never mind. Probably not a good idea."
yeah.
Yeah, again, there's the momentary pause, and Vondal comes back and says, "Okay, little more warning next time might be nice."
It's Grim, not me.
What was the warning? What, do you want to give me a warning to the warning? I can't. You know.
Vondal's
I am
man of
accepting
making
no
plans.
responsibility for that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that is the downside of message. Can't like put it on hold.
Honestly, I think we should go back to the room.
I guess it wouldn't hurt. See how things might have gone down.
I think we go back to our room for the moment.
Our room.
Yes.
Are you sure we shouldn't talk to the people first?
See, as much like I feel like we should like as much as I agree that there's a lot to discuss. Like, we're also burning daylight, and people are willing to adjust to our schedules, but to a limit, I guess.
Yeah.
Fine.
Okay. So, where are you headed first? To Visha's place of work, or to Istavir's house?
I assume they're in completely different locations, and there's no sensible way of. Actually, there is. we should probably talk to the person first instead of to.
I said
Yeah.
we should probably go to the workplace first because
Yeah.
she's likely to be at work in like the middle of the day, and
Yeah,
then go to
that's-
his house after because he's likely to go home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, that's also assuming that he's still staying there because didn't
Well, yeah,
I'm so
true.
sorry, I immediately forgot.
Yeah,
we don't have-
Rung suggested that he may be staying with other people because he doesn't want to stay in the house where his partner was murdered.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we can
that's fair.
also well, we can also like ask what's her face if that is indeed what he's doing. Visha. We can ask Visha if that is what Ranakar is doing because supposedly she was friends with both of them.
I mean, I think regardless, we're all agreed that we want to go to her workplace first.
Yeah. Well, that
Yeah.
does seem like the better order of business, or the most sensible order of doing things.
All right. Well, let's head out.
So yeah, you head towards the market district or market quarter rather, where the seamstress shop that you have the address for is. And on that, we will take a short break.